The REB Business Empowerment Showcase, shining a spotlight on the most innovative businesses that are helping principals, agents and property managers get ahead in their marketplace.
Technology is transforming the way real estate businesses operate, but what does it take to build a CRM that really supports the industry? Welcome to the REB Business Empowerment Showcase. I'm Emilie Lauer, REB's Deputy Editor, and in this episode, I am joined by the co-founders and directors of LockedOn, Luc Newtown and Iain French, to discuss the platform's journey, the challenges it's helping solve, and what is next for the real estate technology. Iain, Luc, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, guys, LockedOn has been on for over a decade now, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Look, 10 years ago, the real estate landscape was quite different. So what prompted the decision to build LockedOn?
LockedOn's journey was quite a simple one in regards to we identified a pretty big gap in the market back then. You know, technology was very different. A lot of different players at that time and a lot of new players are there now. But the main gap we sort of identified with our business partner, Aaron Shiner, and at the time, Ray Wood, we were looking at there's no real specific individual focused solution. There was a lot of, focus on the admin, focus on the back end, give really good support tool to the admin team and, have okay tools for the agents. I wouldn't say they were amazing, but they were still better than what they were using, Excel and paper. But there was a lot of people that were just not using the office software because they didn't want to, or the office had nothing, or they were still running off their phone. Like there was a big market for that person to say, no, I want to do things differently. I want to use something that's built for agents. And that's where LockedOn sort of evolved. We saw that gap and went, let's really niche into that. Let's create something cool that's focused on the agent first, not the admin. And let's actually make it nice and clean and presentable and, a better UI than what was out there. And that was kind of how we saw our opportunity to get into that prop tech area, which was pretty condensed at that time, and it's probably more condensed now, but there was a big gap in that sort of area.
And that's really been one of our main focuses is around agent-centric workflows, making it easy for the agent to list and sell, basically. Just make it easier for them.
Look, it's been a 10 years journey. Over the decades, things have evolved. How did the LockedOn app evolved? And I'm sure there's been, ups and downs. So what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way?
Yeah, so we launched our first version 1 in 2011, and that was a really popular tool, very good for its time. But over that time we did learn a lot of lessons and brought in new features. We redid the platform in 2017, our version 2, and yeah, it was all about revitalizing some of the workflows. Obviously, there's new devices that came into the market in that time. So, yeah, it was a lot of evolution in that space technologically and also in terms of workflows. Yeah,
going from a desktop install version, which many people wouldn't know how to do or what that is anymore, but that was what original LockedOn was. And I think we've gone through evolutions of going from desktop version into our first cloud-based to basically cutting down that tech stack and rebuilding from a company perspective that real estate agents and people in real estate businesses, they would never understand sort of the kind of how hard that is to sort of do and to completely strip back your code base and start again. And we've pretty much done that 3 times now.
Oh wow!
So that will be growing pains for LockedOn, but every time it's kind of like you have to go backwards to go forwards. And I say this with a hands on a heart, but it's like a lot of our competitors haven't done that. And a lot of them haven't stopped and rebuilt. They've just added on and they've kept, maintaining a system that was built decades before where, I think we're pretty forward thinking in regards to, no, we want to be on the best tech and that's going to require us to start again. And the technology that we ended up with version 2 is put us into a really good position and we can build some amazing stuff. We can create some great features that just wouldn't be possible in our legacy technology. So we're really happy with where we're at now. Will we do it again? It will kill us, but we probably will have to at some point. Everyone's talking about AI and there's lots of new things coming out. Definitely a UI version for us is, a big upgrade of something we want to offer, so a new look and feel. And that's something that we've really held high standards with LockedOn is that we just want to make it look better and easier than all the other solutions are out there because we know our core market, who we're dealing with. If the agent can't look at it, figure it out and do it, they're probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
So we always want to make it ease of use. And I think that's always been kind of a pinnacle of our business is it's got to be user-friendly. They should be able to work out most of it. And speed is really important. Like, being able to navigate, get around, find data quickly and not be sitting there frustrated that things not loading. Speed is pinnacle.
100%. Look, user experience, key point.
Exactly.
And speed, definitely. Because they don't have time.
No.
They do not have the time.
They do not.
So, no, definitely. Look, let's talk about LockedOn today.
Yeah.
So, talking about time as well, what are some of the key tools and features you guys have that actually help real estate professionals, on their daily basis?
Yeah, it might be a good time to sort of talk about like the new app we've got coming out. I think the big focus for agents, and again, it's our core market, is like they're not at the computer. Like they want to be out on the road. So a lot of time and effort's been going into our new app that we're very, very close to launching. And, Iain can probably extend on that a bit more, but that's where a lot of the focus is leaning towards now, is that out in the field experience, giving the agent the power to be able to be mobile, to do their job, but to do it with better technology now.
Yeah, I would say with our new app, LockedOn Go, which is we're just getting ready for launch with that now. It's in late stage of beta testing. Is we wanted to flip it on its head a little bit, and instead of the desktop being the primary method for using the CRM, we wanted to switch it to the mobile being the primary method. And we've I would say our current app is probably not our strongest part of our current lineup, but this new one I think just accelerates it 10 times. We've been working very hard on that for a couple of years now, but it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's always a long time in the making to develop something new. Yeah,
it is, and it's the same with the app, right? Because they're different code bases, but we again pulled that right back, rebuilt it in a new code base. Hired new people for this and set them on that project, and it's you're kind of running two systems really. If you're in a prop tech, it's like you're looking at there's your core desktop version, and then there's your core mobile app system. So, we're really proud of what we built. We can't wait to get it out. But yeah, it is a brand new start, built from scratch system, and it's going to be really powerful once the agents start getting out the field.
So look, let's get into it. Like, what can agents really do with that app? What's the system on it, and how does that automation help them, manage their vendors, manage their buyers, and their time?
Yep.
Yeah, so we wanted all of the key things that an agent would need to do on the road. We've enabled them to do that in the app. So things like they want to create a hit list of buyers to call, or just from a particular property, they can just press a few buttons and it just launches the hit list for them. Things like updating listing information, logging calls. It's
making inquiries. It's kind of been. The great thing for us is that we've got thousands of users for 15 plus years now since we've had LockedOn, and a lot of good feedback. So we've basically taken all that feedback in and put it into this new app. But everything they need to sort of be able to do out on the road is functional in that new app. So if I need to speak to a buyer, I need to speak to a vendor, I need to put an appraisal in, I need to update a listing, I need to process something, like it's all going to happen from the app. And ideally, we should see a shift from desktop usage to mobile usage over the coming years as this thing gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Admin, however, they're sitting at a desk all day. So we still build a very strong sort of automation set and follow-up processes and data entry, routines in the desktop. And that's probably never going to change because the admin aren't going to be out in the field and their job is to process a lot of the stuff. So you still need to make that desktop very user-friendly, very functional. But I think that the focus from our perspective has always been agents. Like, we want to make sure that phone app is top-tier, industry-leading. I think that's what we've got coming out.
Yeah, and our biggest focus with the mobile was workflows. So we want to be able to do things in just a couple of clicks and have everything in central places where you just can exactly where to go. With minimal training, you can just jump in and we've had people using the app in beta and we just say, here you go. And we don't even hear from them. Yeah. So the feedback's been just fantastic.
What are some of the feedbacks? I'm curious. I want to know.
Yeah. Well, look, again, it's the people we've got on are pretty reputable offices and good LockedOn clients, and they got bigger teams. So we're testing it out with like some of our better people. That's dangerous in itself, but we've just got good loyal clients that just want to be there and using everything. But look, some of the feedback straight away is one of the big things for LockedOn is speed, and the new app is a lot faster. It's a lot easier to navigate, and it's just a beautiful UI. So like they're looking at it and going, wow. Like it's the first thing they log in, they just go, wow, we can see the effort you've put into this and how clean it is and how functional. And then when they start to use it, chalk and cheese to our old app. Our old app was very competitive and it was great, but this is like lightning fast.
Nice.
So that we're always looking at those two things. Is it easy, workflows, and is it fast? There's three things there, sorry. But, the UI and the speed is critical. Anything. If it's not loading, it's not working, they can't navigate it. People are so used to Apple and, Android even itself, whatever it may be, being able to pick up and learn without having to know what the app is or the function of it. You should be able to figure it all out yourself and just go. That's what the phone app needs to be.
Yeah. And being on a new code base, I know from a technical standpoint, and all the agencies is the interface and the app itself. But when you've got under the hood a new code base, what they don't see is all the advancements that they can get off the top of that. So yeah.
And I think there's a really good balance to have here, in the industry, because automation and that workflow simplicity is one thing. It actually gives you more time to spend with your vendors and your buyers.
Definitely.
And we know that communication there is key.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the best part is the app and the desktop app, mobile app, all links into our automation engine and our triggers and our DNA systems. So when you do check-ins in the app, it automatically sends follow-up SMSs.
Adding inquiries, automation. Yeah, a lot of it is the data is hitting it through the phone or through the CRM, or we're capturing it from website leads. It really doesn't matter where the data is being input. The automation is kind of a system general thing. So if you're doing it on the desktop, the automation is going to fire. If you're doing it on the app, it'll fire that automation based on events, based on data, based on triggers. The engine behind our automation, which we call our triggers, is deeply ingrained into the desktop version, and you set those rules there. But it doesn't matter if you're on the app and you add someone an open home, like you've just experienced buying a property. I'm sure the agents were all using technology, but they would add you to the phone, and then boom, you get your first SMS with a link to the property with all the documents. You get a thank you automation. Like these have been core parts of our business for a long time, but the app just benefits from that.
Oh, yeah. And look, I had people, when I was looking to buy a property, I had people like just on their notes putting the phone number. So the waste of time rather than just scanning a QR code.
It looks like they're advanced. They're using their phone. They're just putting notes in. Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Look, the industry is changing.
It is.
Yeah. Technology is changing in the industry. The market is changing. We're in a slower market at the moment. There's the rise of AI. What are some of the key, challenges you see in the industry nowadays?
Well, look, I think we were chatting just off air before, but, a challenge is obviously a lot of legislation changes and new laws being brought in. Like I see a big challenge for industry now. It's just a learning curve. It's not really a challenge, but like AML. And, as hard as it is for all the agents to understand, it's also, I feel, for all the prop techs out there, because we've all had to do a lot of deep integration to make this as smooth as possible. And like LockedOn's worked really closely with some of our providers, and I feel as though we've made this as painless as it could be for a lot of our users that have signed up with the providers that we're linked in with, deep integrations, but it's a learning curve for all of us. And when you bring something like that into a massive industry, whether that affects the market or not, I don't know, and I don't really want to comment on, but it is a bit of a hassle for everyone right now to learn, to train, to implement, to get staff onboarded. Does that affect their performance? Maybe. Does that affect what's going on in the market in general? Probably not, but I think it does affect, what's going on in an office, and, everyone running around unsure of what they're doing. This will all be ironed out after, in a few months, and we'll all have really smooth processes. But yeah, we worked really hard for, I would say, at least 6 to 7 months with our whole team to get ready for the AML side of things, to make it as easy as possible for agents. But that's had an impact on our business, and it's had an impact on the real estate agents to get ready for it as well and skill up.
Yeah, I think with AML, when we heard about that, we treated it as a bit of a challenge in terms of how can we make this as good as it can be for end users, knowing that it's compulsory, that agents going to have to do this, in the field, and even a lot of people, they're still not 100% sure exactly what's required. And of course, as is typical with people, they leave their homework, leave your homework to the last minute. So we did a webinar with the guys at AML Assured. And we found, I think there was 3 weeks out from the July 1 deadline, and I think it was more than half hadn't even looked into anything at that time.
Or had a provider in mind.
Or had a provider in mind. But the way that we approached the AML process was to we looked at it from start to finish and like, how can we build a workflow which is going to be seamless for our customers through our providers, and the feedback that we've received from our AML workflows.
Yeah, well, the end result was literally one extra button in our system.
Yeah.
But that was 6 months behind the scenes, which, I hope everyone appreciates, but I'm sure they don't really understand. But it's literally one button that says begin in LockedOn, and, that starts the whole AML process with the provider that you're linked in. And then, we're talking to their servers, they're doing the checks, they're sending back reports and validations. But, from their experience, it's just nothing's really changed. We've made it as simple as possible. But yeah, I think that's, there's things that change that are affecting us. There's things that change that affect both the agent and the technology provider. That's one of them. A changing market, like you said before, is, probably more for the real estates, the agents themselves are seeing that. And now they're going to be leaning on, well, what parts of the tools, what parts of my system do I need to know better because of this changing market? Like when it's a seller's market and it's hot, it's like, it's all about just, hey, get me people that want to sell them easy, done. Now it's like, I've got to look after buyers because, things aren't selling so much. So I've got to really work my hot buyer list better. So what functions are there in LockedOn to help me tag my hot buyers, create a hit list, call them every week, keep them up to date with regular listings, all that buyer automation we've had pretty rock solid since we built that second version around 2015. So, they're leveraging back to those core tools that we had. But like we've been through this in 2011 since we had LockedOn. Like the market goes up, market goes down, and you just see different tools, different requests, different things they need in support. But it's good to have them all.
Oh yeah, you need them all. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, the market is slower at the moment due to all the changes. I don't think AML is affecting the market, more the budgets. Yeah. But in saying this, I think the fact that you guys have all those buyers tool, for the agents brings back to, the core of real estate as well, because I think there's a tendency to forget your buyers and focus only on your sellers. So in a way, is it not, putting the ball back in the center again? Yeah,
well, it nearly is. And I want to go back to our off-camera chats, but you were talking about your experience, as a buyer, and we were talking about, okay, well, look, your buyers are your sellers. And then you were saying, look, I got some AI calls and I didn't really know how to feel about it because, I'm in the heat of the moment. I'm a really serious buyer and, I want to speak to the person. I want to speak to the agent. I'm sure there is, great times that AI calling and bots can be done, but as I said to you, it's such an emotional transaction for let's call it 95% of the people, and you were just wanting to speak to the person. I don't want to speak to you. I want to speak to the agent. I want to speak to the person. I want to get real information. I don't want to have to pass it on or go back and forth with an AI bot on this. So yeah, look, they'll lean on different tools. LockedOn definitely has some good stuff now, and we're getting a lot of people requested. Is like most agents have vast buyer databases that haven't been nurtured to a degree that sellers have. That's shifting now, but we've got a lot of people saying, well, how do I find the buyers that are serious right now? Because that's the things. I want to be working them, I want to be making sure they're buying. Our buyer portal tool that we've had, now for nearly a decade is a great way for them to reconnect. And that's a simple SMS out to, it could be 10,000 buyers saying, hey, are you still in the market looking to buy? If you're interested, click this link to tell us what you're after, how much you got to spend, beds, bath and car. We'll match you to the correct properties. We'll send you an updated list and we'll give you a call to chat about that. And if you're not, just click the I'm not looking option and it'll take you off our buyer list. So, when you talk about, well, how do I find those 100 buyers that I should be working with the next 3 months? Like you then hit the mass and you deal with the people that reply or interact, and that's kind of that reactive marketing. It's like, well, you don't have to actually call 10,000 people and you don't have to get an AI bot right now to call them all and hopefully upset them. It's like use something that they can interact with and then filter out the people and engage with that.
And it's all about communications.
It is.
At the end of the day. What is coming next for LockedOn? It's exciting. Beside the app,
Yeah. Well, look, the app is a huge one for us. So that's a big one that will be coming out in the next coming weeks. So we're really excited about that. The future, I think everyone sort of knows. The word is kind of promoting our LockedOn version 3, which we're probably going to call it, based on our technology that we have now, but a whole new, I guess, front end to the system with AI built in as a big part of that.
Yeah, we've got a few things in the works.
Yeah.
Some very exciting things. Yeah.
So how is AI going to shape LockedOn in the future?
So our approach to AI has been more of a safer approach. I would call it. There's a lot of talk in AI spaces at the moment. So around particularly anyone can build apps now. So there's a lot of tools out there where you can build an app in a single prompt, and people go, oh wow, I've got this new app. But the thing is, it can be a bit of a dangerous approach. I don't know if you guys have heard of OpenClaw, things like that. OpenClaw is really good until it goes wrong, and then it's really bad. So we wanted to take an approach of, instead of just giving AI access to all of our systems with no safeguards, we're releasing out AI features as we vetted them and we see them as safe to use. It's going to be, our approach to AI is obviously internal tools that we're working on, and expanding it out in a responsible way that's going to be safe for the end user.
And I think that's the key word there, like it's safety, because you're dealing with sensitive data at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's what people don't realize. They see the end goal and they go, wow, I can do anything. I can build anything, and it's a prompt and I save weeks. But these people, they don't know about security. They don't know about privacy policies, legislation. There could be a whole host of things could go wrong, could leak out. And, it's especially in the world of AI now, where AI tools can do things like scan for vulnerabilities in software, and they can find these things. It's important to be very responsible in terms of security and privacy.
I had an analogy where I was sort of thinking about it last night. I was like, yeah, AI and a lot of agents, they want to just be able to get their data and, type a prompt and make it do these magic things, where it's like there is a lot of risk to that, and there probably is a lot of pros to it as well. But I think it needs to be a staged, controlled, like good rollout with a good technology company behind it. We've got a proven track record. We've built some really amazing stuff. We have good security. We have great code base. And now we're just going to leverage the power of AI through all of that. But if you start to sort of just say, well, go free, go do what you want with it, I still think it's new to the industry. Like, it's not as if it's just come out, but it's still relatively new what people can do with controlled data sets. Now, you can go and get all this and just go, AI, Claude, whatever you want, take all my data, do all this, do this magic thing. But like, do you really want to be at that far ahead where you're like the first person who makes the big mistake?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone wants to do that. I don't think anyone wants to be in the news that, my database just did this, it just got leaked. And that's where I feel like it's so close to that line still, where it's like real estate has really big data sets around sensitive data. And I think the responsibility will come back to us. If we share data and that agent messes that up, then it's kind of like, well, at some point, they're going to come back to LockedOn. So we have to be really controlled around that. And I don't think we want any of our clients to be that first person to make those headlines, to do that first big mistake. So as Iain said, we're building it in a responsible manner where we know the tools the agent wants. Like, let's understand that we're speaking to agents every day, thousands of agents around a country, not just one. We know what they're after. We know the demands and feedback, but we're now going to roll that out in a controlled manner where our AI tool will allow you to do, look, let's call it a majority of what their wish lists are. And their wish lists aren't so extraordinary. Like, it's, AI is capable and our AI is very capable, but there will be ways that we'll be looking at, okay, well, there are parts of this we do need to open up over time so that we can give them their freedom to do what they want with their data. But it has to be controlled. It has to be a smooth rollout. What we've built and what we've seen, like our developers have showed us, the whole V3 sort of front end, very recently, and that's what we're working towards. It's blown our mind. Like, I must say, it's the most exciting time for LockedOn. And I thought where we are now was exciting, and now I'm just more excited about the future. Yeah. And I always hate going, let's tell people about it, let's get out there. But it's like, I've seen it now, and I've seen it working. I've seen live environments, and it's blowing my mind what our AI is capable of doing. And I think it's going to blow the end user's mind. It's very, very powerful.
It's extremely
but opening
powerful.
it up is a whole different ballgame. Like I said, we can do it. We can use ours controlled, but I'm worried about full opening up, giving people access to every point of our data or their data in our system, and then their reliance on making sure that's controlled. that's a dangerous game.
It is. And count on me to write the news, yeah?
It will be REB headline. Please don't be a LockedOn user.
Well, guys, on those wise words, I'm excited to see version 3 coming up on the market, but let's get the app first out.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today.
No, thanks so much for having us. It's been great.
Thank you so much.